My dad was driving the fire truck.
He was, 9 feet tall.
And I would hang on his
Say,
muscle.
let's just jump in that Pontiac and take the whole neighborhood to McDonald's.
In a white tank top, he had a big afro.
He played baseball with me.
My dad is the greatest dad in the world.
He coached us in all of our sports.
Watched Hockey Night in Canada with my dad.
It was all about getting the
I had my first sip of beer riding a horse license when I was 5.
That's my dad.
By the time that I had enough understanding as to what the role of a father was or should be, I had learned not to expect too much.
I have had a heart-to-heart with my dad.
I was always a little bit apprehensive.
He was basically just kind of cut off.
We discussed a lot of stuff.
I can't have a heart-to-heart with my father because I'm fearful.
Didn't really get a lot of emotion from my dad.
As far as emotions, we were very closed off.
He hid his emotions pretty good.
I thought that's kind of how you had to be a man.
I don't get into a heart-to-heart kind of talk with my dad, because, there's kind of a big gap between us. He never really had a real good conversation with my dad.
My dad has this thing of pushing me away or pushing his kids away from him.
I'm still waiting for the birds and the bees talk with my dad. I never got that talk.
The thing that hurts the most between my dad and myself is I wasn't able to ever truly come out to him.
Dad said, "What? What do you need to talk to me about?" And I was so nervous and so afraid. I said, "Dad, I'm gay." And the first and only thing that my father said to me was, "Joe, you are gonna die of AIDS." It was really terribly traumatic for me because it was the first time that I realized that I didn't have unconditional love for my parent.
He was pretty much like an absentee landlord, he was there on the phone for Christmases and some birthdays.
He kind of walked out on us when I was, real little, and I kind of remember that day when he did walk out. Well, you're a kid, feel abandoned and all like that.
The father-son relationship is so important when you're developing. I pretty much felt lost at sea when my father left.
It was sad at first when they got divorced, but then there wasn't so much chaos around the house.
So I'm playing the game. I'm doing very well. We winning. At halftime, they was like, "Man, you guys remind me of each other." And then I was like, "He does look like me." And then somehow after the game, basically, we talked. He was my younger brother. My father literally stayed 10 minutes away from me. And I grew up, 10 years without him.
I felt like I was alone. I never had that older person telling me, everything is gonna be okay, which is fucking stupid. But, I guess when you're little, you need to hear that.
He told me he loved me several times, but now that I'm looking back, he never really explained to me why he moved away, or even why he was that close to me and wouldn't, reach out to me.
I never had my dad around to play catch with me in the backyard or to teach me how to shave.
I feel pretty resentful, but still, have a longing to have a relationship with him.
I don't really have a memory of my dad because he committed suicide when I was 2 years old. And I found him lying in the room, and after he shot himself.
Resentment, abandonment, most of all.
The last time I called him was because I knew I should. It's my dad. And I know he's lonely and he's afraid to die alone. And I feel like I should care about him, and I do. But I had no idea what to say to him.
A real man is in touch with both sides, masculine and feminine. And it takes a bigger man to cry than to, that kind of thing.
I don't think I've ever seen my dad cry.
I've never seen my father cry. I've never seen him come close to crying.
I've seen him get upset and irritated, and I've seen him look really depressed, but not to the point where he would cry.
He does not cry, ever.
Very emotionally economical.
The only emotion I saw was anger.
The only emotion you're free to express is anger,
He was depressed and angry. Watching the kitchen table get flipped over with everything on it was not uncommon.
Our family has a nice temper that runs through it, so you just don't want to light the fuse.
It was really hard for him to see that. I had clinical depression growing up. And he'd cry with me sometimes.
My dad cries. He's a very emotional man.
Me and him get in fights, and then he cries because he tries to forgive me and stuff. And then I give him a hug, and I say, "It's all right, Daddy."
My oldest brother was an alcoholic, and he had fell. And when he fell, my father cried, and I also cried with him.
If I go visit my folks, I'll give my mom and dad a hug, which we hardly ever did. And I'll tell them both that I love them, and my dad will kind of go, oh. He doesn't reciprocate and say, well, I love you too, son.
He says I love you with a kind of casual, non-emotional committal.
He would say that I'm proud of you, but he never said that I love you.
Why were we not important enough just to be with us and to say I love you?
My father has never told me he loved me. Never.
I knew that he loved me. It was something that didn't have to be said. And he was the kind of man that men don't say that.
I have a great relationship with my dad, but I don't say I love you to my dad.
God help him, he said I love you or something like that, because he just got all embarrassed, so it's...
I've never told my dad that I love him, because I have no idea how he would respond.
It's weighed on me so much that a few years ago for his birthday, as his birthday was coming up, I marked on the calendar, like, as this was, this day I'm gonna tell my dad I love him. And the birthday came and went, and I didn't do it. It's not that I don't love him at all. On the contrary, but,
Yes, I love my dad.
He makes sure that I understand that he loves me and vice versa.
I told him, Dad, I've never told you this before, but I love you.
Daddy, I love you.
My dad tells me he loves me all the time.
I probably tell my kids I love them every day.
The love that he gave me and my brothers was unconditional, and I always knew that.
Dad, what are you doing? Oh. I'm sitting right in the middle of filming. I'm doing a documentary. It's on, relationships that fathers and sons have, and the conversation came up about love, and so I've said I've never said it to you, and so they said, well, pick up the phone and tell them. And so I just wanted to call and tell you that I love you, and I'm proud of you, that's all. Mm-hmm. I know you do. So, that's all. I just wanted to call and tell you that. I know it. I know it. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye-bye. He goes, I used to say it when you kids were little. And I have a 2-year-old niece who my mother and father watch. And he said, I say it to her all the time, but as I get older, I don't say it to you kids. So he said, it's awful nice to hear.
I don't wait for that deathbed. I don't wait for that opportunity to tell my father how I feel.
I'm mentally preparing myself for the fact that he's gonna pass. And I thought, what am I gonna write about my dad? Because all I can really say about the man is he tried.
If I had the chance to talk to my dad again, I would like to explain to him the damage that he's done.
After he passed away, I dealt with the guilt a lot, because, you don't want to fight with someone and then have them pass away.
He asked me to come see him. I didn't make it. That next day when I got home from school, my mother called me and she told me, that my father had passed on. So I carry a lot of guilt for not being able, to grant his last wish. That might have been him telling me what made him leave.
When he was in the hospital for the last time, his curtains came down, and we were able to get a few meaningful moments in there.
An hour before he died, he said he was proud of me. My father was a CB in the United States Navy. He was a great American.
We both knew that it was the last time I would see him. I told him that I loved him. First time in my life I'd ever seen him cry.
I just didn't want him to go, you know?
When my father passed away from cancer, I began to realize what I lost.
I saw a video in my grandma's backyard on my first birthday, and he carried me around the whole day. And I was just like, wow, that's love right there.
It was the best feeling in the world when I saw my son when he was born. And then it was a sense of disbelief. It's kind of like, that's my son. I'm a dad.
At first, I was just mortified. I was like, oh my God, my life is over. I was scared to death.
When I found out that I was going to be a father, the first thing that I told myself was that I wasn't going to be like my dad.
I'm gonna be the dad that I kind of wish I had.
I want to be the best friend. I want to be the guy that I can, that he could tell me, what he's scared of or what he's afraid of, or what, that he can cry in front of me. I want to be the guy that he could talk to, because I never had that when I was growing up.
With my kids, I don't do the belt, I don't do the spoon. I mean, I've, whacked the butt a couple times, but I want to make sure that that's a habit that I break, and I have, which I'm happy about.
I would not push them so against the wall, religious-wise.
I'm not talking to my son. He doesn't talk to me, he doesn't look for me, and I don't look for him. And I don't feel good about that.
My dad vowed that he would never let his children grow up the way he did. He said, if I ever become like my father, take me out back with a shotgun and shoot me.
I think I have a lot of fear of being a dad. So I feel like I'm afraid that I would do similar things that my dad did, or have a tendency to do those things. I feel like there's certain things that are kind of ingrained.
I think I'm gonna be a cool ass dad. Like, I'm even so cool that I think that if he turns out to be gay, I'm okay with that. I just don't want him to be a drug dealer.
I want my children to become who they are, who they're supposed to be. I'm never gonna pull you in order to make you become what you're not supposed to be.
I love fatherhood. I love it.
Yeah, little man. Whenever you got a problem, you can talk to me. You can tell me anything you want. And Papi's not gonna be mad. Papi already went through it. So he's gonna know. He's gonna know how to fix your problems. So you can talk to me.